Well, hello, everybody. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day. I've been busy making videos, and so we're going to kind of jump straight into what I've been doing. And this is, let me see how I want to do this. Hmm. This video is very good. So I'm going to start by playing it. And this is the video I've been working on, and it's up on YouTube, and it's my video. So let me just say this real quick. This is for entertainment purposes only and satire. John Kennedy is full of satire. If you get my meaning, what is the thing jumping around? If you get my meaning, this is all of what I'm going to talk about tonight is for entertainment purposes only. I have no direct knowledge of any wrongdoing by any ultra elites. I just suspect that there's some shenanigans going on all over the world. So let's just jump in with Senator Kennedy. I know some of these people when they do a live show, they I hope y'all can hear me. My microphone's right above my dang head. But yeah, they wait for people to come in and log in and all that. I got maybe 5 people watching me after 20 minutes. After 40 minutes, I got maybe a few more. But look, it ain't about the numbers right now. I'm building something, and it's all about the algorithm and the AI and the actual building of these things. So let's jump right on in it with Senator Kennedy and play what he's saying.
Mr. Director, worry not. We'll make sure your agency is adequately funded. This judge you arrested in Wisconsin, she was breaking federal law, wasn't she?
Yes, that's why we arrested her.
She was helping an illegal immigrant escape being taken into custody. Is that right?
Yes, and the field agents decided to open the case, work the case.
And as Americans, do we get to pick and choose which laws we want to follow?
We do not.
If you're a state court judge, do you get to decide you don't want to follow federal law?
No.
And if you violate federal law, you get arrested, don't you?
What's happened to our judiciary is beyond me.
Yeah, so when the American public hears this and they think these were once upstanding people in their communities and their professions, and they put it all on the line for this, I mean, have you dug into their motive? Like, what inspired them to carry out these acts and harbor criminals?
They're deranged is all I can think of. I cannot believe, I think some of these judges think they are beyond and above the law, and they are not. And we're sending a very strong message today. If you are harboring a fugitive, we don't care who you are. If you are helping hide one, if you are giving a TDA member guns, anyone who is illegally in this country, we will come after you and we will prosecute you. We will find you.
Yes, Senator.
That's called equal treatment under the law, isn't it?
Yes, Senator.
You remember Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, don't you?
Yes, Senator.
Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI, Mr. Strzok worked for the FBI. I think Ms. Page worked for Justice. The Inspector General found in its investigation that they hated President Trump and they really wanted Secretary Clinton to win. Is that true?
That's correct, sir.
And this would be the same same Ms. Page who sent an email to Mr. Strzok with whom she was having an affair. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? And Mr. Strzok with the FBI, senior official at the FBI replied, quote, no, he won't. We'll stop it. Did I read that correctly?
You did, Senator.
Okay. Now, Ms. Page got quit before she could get fired. Mr. Strzok was fired, and predictably, they filed a lawsuit. because in Washington, it's easier to divorce your spouse than it is to fire a federal employee. Why did the FBI give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 to settle a lawsuit?
Senator, I do not know that settlement was reached in the prior administration.
Who made the decision?
The prior Department of Justice.
Who in the prior Department of Justice?
The settlement for that kind of case can only come from the Attorney General, which would be Attorney General Merrick Garland.
So the Attorney General decided to give Mr. Strzok $1.2 million and Ms. Page $800,000 after they were fired after actively interfering in the 2016 election. Is that right?
My understanding is that was a settlement they agreed to.
Pass me the sick bucket, please. The Hunter Biden laptop. In October of 2016, shortly before the election, the New York Post wrote a story that was widely covered talking about Mr. Hunter Biden's influence peddling scheme based on his laptop. A couple of weeks later, Secretary of State, soon to be Secretary of State, Antony Blinken, organized a group of 51 so-called intelligence experts.
51.
Had some real rock stars on the list. Jim Clapper, John Brennan, Michael Hayden, Leon Panetta, and they said, oh, no, the story in the New York Post is not true. It's based on Russian disinformation. You remember that?
I do, Senator, as the lead investigator for Russiagate for the House Intel Committee.
Yeah. The FBI had the laptop for 10 months, hadn't they?
10 months.
So the FBI knew right before the election that it wasn't Russian disinformation, didn't they?
And that was confirmed by the Inspector General's report.
Yeah. Who at the FBI refused to let the FBI tell the American people the truth?
I don't have that name in front of me, sir.
Well, would you look?
I will,
Would
sir.
you look?
I'd like to know. I'd like a name, not a division. I'd like the name. Person with a brain and a beating heart.
Yes, sir.
A brain and a beating heart.
Did Jeffrey Epstein hang himself or did somebody kill him?
Senator, I believe he hung himself in a cell in the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Are you going to release all the information about that?
Senator, we are working through that right now with the Department of Justice.
When you think you'll have it done, Cash?
I think in the near future, sir.
Like before I die?
Senator, we've been working on that, and we're doing it in a way that protects victims and also doesn't put out into the ether information that is irrelevant for production of the public, such as CSAM.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Wow. That is interesting, to say the
Mr.
least.
Director, worry not. We'll make
There's so much to unpack here. It would take a while. But you can go to buddyhuggins.com, buddyhuggins.blogspot.com, search my name, Buddy Huggins, and you'll find my blog page. I've got one that is, after I made that long format video, I made a short one. So we're going to play the short one now. And I'm going to do a click through, click it, and then open it up. And it should be full screen in a second. So pay close attention to this.
And by 10 o'clock, I still want to follow Jesus, but I also want to slap the hell out of somebody. So it's important that we remind ourselves, don't hate. And I don't hate anyone, and that includes President Biden. But President Biden and his people had the remarkable ability to take something that wasn't broken and try to fix it. They would take something that wasn't broken in government and take it apart, loosen a few screws, and then it would be broken.
And then it would be broke because that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to keep the system broke, and they want to keep the people broke, sick, and disgusted. And that way, they're creating their reality to be broke, sick, busted, and disgusted. They don't teach us the truth about how this reality is really ran and really co-opted. But down here at the bottom, I've got some details. Let me play this real quick. Read it.
Watch Senator John Kennedy grill FBI Director Kash Patel in a fiery Senate Judiciary Committee hearing. From the arrest of a Wisconsin judge aiding an illegal immigrant to the FBI's $2 million settlement with Lisa Page and Peter Strzok, the Hunter Biden laptop cover-up, and the truth about Jeffrey Epstein's death, Kennedy demands answers. With the recent James O'Keefe expose on Prince Andrew and Epstein's crimes, May 2025, the push for transparency is heating up. Will Patel release the Epstein files? Join the conversation on elite accountability and systemic corruption. Don't miss this.
Now, when you come here, you can see these videos, and feel free to play them and learn, educate yourself on what's going on. This poor young lady, she is no longer with us. And let me see if I can do this. I'm going to mute it, make it go full screen, and I'm going to be talking over the top of it with the best knowledge that I have about what the hell happened. I made a video blog page about this, and yeah, it's pretty sad. But Jeffrey Epstein's victim, Virginia, great, I can't pronounce that name, dies by suicide weeks after saying she had days to live, supposedly hit by a bus. Horrible, horrible way to end your life, knowing that they're coming after you. And these people are relentless. The information, that's what's so weird is the information about what was going on was already out there in the public. Senator Kennedy knows this. Senator Josh Hawley knows this. Hell, half of all of Washington, D.C. has already been complicit in her death by not protecting her. And there's a place where we got to get where we know that these people have come forward to give testimony. They need to be protected. Convicted sex offender. Yeah, some of these words are you can't say on internet. You'll lose your stuff. It's just a horrible thing. 41, age 41. So when she got involved with this, she was, I believe, 16 or 17. And she met some people in high places. And yeah, it just went really bad downhill. Let me scroll through some of the things I know I got, but I didn't organize it. Let me see if I can do older. Yeah, that's where I talked about the missing money and the gold. There'll be a lot of people finding out about that later. And there's Kennedy. It must be so far down the line, I can't get to it like I want to. But it's all right. So I'm just thumbing through, and this is one of the ones that I found that is very interesting, very well done. I'll play just a second of this to get it on here. and let you see what they're talking about.
Which you will remember from our conversation that we had last year on
James
Solutions Watch
Colbert
back in
report.
February of 2024 on achieving Epstein.
Or one picture showed.
That's one picture that shows her after the so-called bus wreck. What's so weird about this is that the police reported that she was barely hurt. Actually, it was reported there was no injuries. I'm sorry, she's injured. How in the hell did you come with that conclusion? If that would happen in my local town, and Jeffrey's this beautiful lady was here and she got hit by a bus, and then all this and all that, I would actually go have a conversation with the chief of police and ask him, just how in the hell do you have a person that has pictures and you're saying she's not hurt? It's insane.
Up of her a couple weeks ago where she was completely bruised. Her face was bruised, and she had said she'd been in a bus accident. She'd been a passenger in a Toyota.
It's just horrible. It's just horrible. Pam Bundy. We're going to be talking about her here in a minute.
Thanks. And I released Epstein's Black Book in 2015 and a number of flight logs in 2015. And
now the man said he just released that. And what was so funny was they had all these influencers at the White House, and they had these folders, pre-made folders, and the stuff that's in the folder is not new. So there's a lot of theory going around that Pam Bundy has been blackmailed or family threatened. And that's how these people work. They'll come after your family. Entertainment purposes only. If you come after my ass, I got something for you. As a satire joke, I am protected by the resurrected power of the Christ consciousness of Yahshua, Ben Joseph. You might call him Jesus, but I'm not afraid of anything or anyone. But time will tell. I've seen something interesting. Let me look at it and see if I can find it real quick. Maybe this is
6 years, as you have talked about. And that was, of course, coming at the time, ending trial.
The strange case of Virginia Giuffre stands right now.
You lay out very important points.
Because out of that,
The record that in 2019 she did make that tweet about
2019, I'm making a public known that in shape, form, I would not unalive myself. Made known therapists. Well, y'all can read this. I can't make heads or tails out of it, but
she will not commit suicide, and if she ever does, it should be questioned. So I think that is,
and that's just the simple facts. If it was ever
relevant, although
to be questioned, they should have questioned it. The police should have been all over it, and they should have used every available. See, look, we got cameras everywhere. They're not going to even tell you in street lights. They're recording street lights. They're recording pedestrian passageways, grocery stores, malls, banks, everything. And they're also covering us from Overwatch, a technology that Palantir has taken to the nth degree and added AI in it. Look, I got caught onto this, and there were 4 jewelry stores in San Francisco were all hit the same day, right at the same time. San Francisco is covered 24/7 with a surveillance system from a satellite. They can zoom in and back track, like you backing a video up and you want to see, the times that that these stores were hit. These jewelry stores were cleaned out. It was a gang of people that knew what they were doing. But this is what's wrong with this story, and it's happening all over this world. I'm just making a point so you can see that there's crimes that could be solved, but they're not even trying to solve the crime because they're guilty and being involved in the robbery of these four stores. How do you do that? Because you could have found them. The police looked the other way. The FBI looked the other way. Everybody looked the other way. Nobody went after these criminals. And they stole very expensive diamonds, jewels, things that are really hard to track. Rolex watches and you can imagine gold, everything. And I know for a fact that they can zoom in on that system, looking down on it, and see exactly the stores, each one of them. And they could make that AI system literally follow them as they left the store. They will admit to that. They can follow a bank robber or they can have a car chase. Don't get me started about car chasing and doing them pit movers. They say in Arkansas, they hitting cars so many times. It's over 200 and something last year and killing people. It's attempted murder to for an officer to pit a car, especially when you know that there is an Overwatch system all over this planet now that's tracking everything and everyone. You see what I'm saying? That you can actually track them not only as they're doing the robbery and leaving, but better than that, you can go all the way back to their origins and actually find out where they're meeting, where they live. But you want to track us. You want to track us. That's the case because you think that this war is going to end and you're going to be the victors, and then you got to go around and do this to everybody. That's the kind of war we in, people. This shit is real and it's getting diabolical. So there's a lot of good things to see. This is a video that I made. Let me cue it up for a second. Well, hey, everybody. Test it. I got to open it up like this. Test it. Now I'm going to be two buddies. One buddy from the past and one buddy from the future. Let's see if we can do it like this. Making sure the microphone works. All right. The time I was living in a state of bliss for quite a few years. And at about 2000, well, this is going to be one of them videos. It's got some pretty controversial stuff in it. And I'm not going to be able to show it. It's, yeah. You can see me just scrolling. It's full of valuable information for the people that want to get to the bottom of some of this crap. If you're seeing some of the same things I'm seeing, you can realize that there's an evil in this world, and they've done a lot of horrible things. It's all in the video, so I would encourage you to go watch it. Where am I at right here? But yeah, we've been lied to about everything without saying the words and stuff. You can, a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth 10,000. So I thought I'd just put the picture up there show you what I'm talking about. But let me let me motivate over here to my um, X account and show you. If you don't know this man, Bill Cooper and the deep state, and he's been talking about it. He's dead now, but he had been talking about it for quite a while. So they finally figured out a way to take him out. I'm curious. Is that? I'm just curious about this. Okay, yeah, this is the one we've already played. Yeah. All right, I got a lot of interesting things on my blog, on my X, I should say. A lot of it links back to my blog page, but this one was very interesting. Let me see if I can. Yeah, a lot of things about our history.
Tartaria was everywhere, and history as we know it has been completely fabricated. At first, we thought maybe the Dark Ages.
But when we are dealing with the facts about the history and we're not being told the truth, that is how they can control us to make us ignorant to our history.
Were just unclear, but it turns out they were invented to push a lot of events further into the past. We realized that it wasn't just small parts of history that might be wrong, everything was made up. One fascinating thing is the architecture we find around the world. In almost every city, you'll find ancient Gothic-style buildings with incredibly intricate designs. People look at them and say, oh, that's just how they built things back then. But some of these buildings are absolutely stunning. Think about it. If we lived in a feudal society where everyone was working just to survive, how would anyone have had the time, resources, or motivation to build something so elaborate and that worked the way they did? These buildings weren't just practical structures like free energy generators. They were artistic expressions. They were built to be functional and beautiful, to celebrate what was being created. But we don't build like that anymore. The complexity and beauty of these structures are clues that we didn't live in the same pay-to-survive system we're trapped in now. Tartaria was a global civilization, incredibly advanced and powered by free energy, likely based on etheric energy. It existed up until about 200 or 250 years ago. Estimates place its early origins around the mid-17th century, and its destruction came shortly after. They've been lying to you all along.
Wow, that's so true. The type of technology that these people had and the memories that they had to be wiped off the planet. There are tales of people that knew the old way. They were remembering the old ways. And so that whole group that was trapped in Russia, they had to go as far as the Arctic Circle. And over a 150, 200-year period, 90 million people were killed. So this goes all the way back to the War of 1812. It was a world war at that time. And that's the kind of diabolical mess that we're in, is not knowing our history and our the truth about how this world's been reset. Now we're dealing with a whole nother group of people talking about the earth is subject to roll over on its side. Well, we just passed Easter. We'll be up on 4th of July before you know it. And then we'll be back to 9/11, September the 11th. Something always big kicks off around that time. And then we'll be back to Halloween and Thanksgiving. And then that magical time of the year, baby Jesus. I love me some baby Jesus. And things just keep accelerating in time. And you feel it, I feel it, everybody feels it. So, whatever is breaking down has got to do with some of these hidden secrets. I'm going to play this one. I want to hear the words.
I have seen the truth beyond the ice vast, unexplored land. Admiral Richard E. Byrd.
This is just speculation. Nobody actually knows anything about the actual shape of the earth. We've been told it's pear-shaped. We've been told, see this picture here? We've been told it's all kinds of different things. But this thread is really interesting. I'm at 10 now, and it's got, yeah, this was interesting.
Laser technology was used to build the sophisticated buildings we see from the past. There is no way these buildings were carved from a hammer and chisel, nor was this built without the assistance of electrical advanced machines. The detail in these stone-carved buildings reflect.
It's so obvious they had 3D printing back then. There's free energy that these people had tapped into. I believe that these foundation of their reality was different than what we are. They had technologies that we can't even comprehend. AI has not been recently discovered. It has always been. And if this is a holographic simulated reality, then we're dealing with master controllers. And they need to be gone because of the dealings that's going on within the Earth system. It's a planetary plane of existence that has been compromised by a group of interlopers that have figured out a way to hide in plain sight, and they own and control the whole world. That's the reason the crazy stuff is happening. But these are glimpses and images that boggle the mind. And this is the type of truth ultimately might get us all killed. Like they did that 90 million. Yeah. Because when you're making a transition from an old world into a new paradigm where the controllers want to keep control so bad that they're willing to burn it down. And we're right at that point where that disclosure is coming out and they can't seem to put it back in the bottle. And that's a good thing because this is not a reality that we think it is. People go, well, that's done with AI. Yeah, it is. It's done with AI. And what few artifacts and actual remnants of this ancient society has been hoarded away under the Roman Catholic Church and other bunker cities that are underground.
Is there a reason they've been hiding electric vehicles from us for over 100 years? Like, when do you think the world's first
When do you think the first electric vehicle? It was, I can give you the answer. The first Ford vehicles to come off of the assembly line were electric. New York City was full of electric vehicles. Listen.
1909. Yup, we had electric cars over 100 years ago, and then they...
You see them coming off the assembly line? The first ones were electric.
Just kind of disappeared for a while, and I bet you can guess who was behind it all. This car here could go 70 miles on one charge and up to 25 miles per hour. Not the fastest, but still better than a typical horse-drawn carriage back then, which would cap at a...
It is so unreal that this is in plain sight. They don't teach it. They don't want you to know it. They're they I say they. It's no real good way to say the controllers and how much power they have, because they're interwebbed all the way down into your local city government, your county government, and the state that you're in is involved with secret societies, and they call it the Shriners, they call it the Masons, they call it helping people. But what it is a system of control. So if you do have a way to do your own research, now is the time to do it while we have this glitch in the matrix. And it is definitely a glitch.
Took over. So what in the world happened here? Well, first, the EBC was accused of loan fraud that bankrupted the company in 1902. I wonder who could have possibly led the investigation that resulted in that. Then, conveniently, in 1903, Henry Ford starts banging out gas-powered cars in his revolutionary assembly line process, which saw enormous success, adopting the general notion that
at the same time that they made this change back over to gas engines and using byproduct that was diesel. And the original diesel engine was made by Rudolph Diesel, and it was designed to run off of peanut oil and other vegetable oil. But no, you can't have that. We got to control. That's the key. They got to control the wiring of the electrical system, because they had to rebuild the whole damn thing, because they're the ones that tore the free system down. The free system had components that were built even greater technology than we have now. But just think, if the electric cars could have stayed in, in conjunction with the airplane, a car would probably be able to drive across country on 4 gallons of water, because there's power in water, and there's power in the air, and there's power in knowledge and awakening to the truth about what's going on.
the gas was just a better product. On top of that, lack of charging ports out in the countryside made electric cars more limited and cumbersome. And in general, electric cars were not only more expensive, but were generally marketed towards women who didn't drive as much as men back then. So there wasn't much.
And we talk about the electric car being such a modern thing. I would love to see this taught in school, and but I don't think they want that right now, because you get a bunch of young people free thinking. Next thing you know, they're going to want to ask some deep questions.
Is a pretty valid reason. But then again, we didn't have many gas stations yet either. Supplying cars with gasoline just happens to result in more long-term profit than charging them with electricity. And this actually goes back even further, with a couple of prototype EVs in the 1800s. In 1899, the Belgian La Jamaïque Content broke the 100-kilometer-an-hour speed barrier for the first time in history, reaching a speed of 105 kilometers an hour. It was an electric vehicle. In 1888,
the fastest cars right now are electric vehicles. I seen one the other day. I can't pull it up because I'm busy doing this. But it's a little bitty thing, and it's really tight to the ground. It has fans that literally suck it to the ground, and it's fast.
an hour. Go back 50 years before then to Scotland's Robert Anderson, who built his own motorized electric carriage around 1832. Batteries weren't even rechargeable yet back then, so it was more of a party trick than an actual transportation device.
Now, this could be fact-checked and use Grok AI to do it. Grok AI is my go-to Grok to fact-check stuff like this. It's amazing at these young people coming forth with truth.
which was a total flop, and they quickly scrapped it in favor of more Hummers, SUVs, and more gas-guzzling vehicles. You see, electric cars are nothing new. In fact, they even predate some of the earliest gas-powered cars in history. But when one option can produce way more long-term profit than the other, history tends to go the route that is more profitable to the companies behind.
The profit, instead of taking the road less traveled. They say it like that. All right. That's interesting. Yeah. That example of what we can do, and then the example of what was done. Buildings literally carved into existence with energy and 3D printing at a level that we couldn't even comprehend now. And this thread just continues and goes on and on. It is a very interesting subject. Just to show you how deep it is. All right, I'm gonna make sure that I've got it liked and shared on my X account so you can follow it, repost. And now if you go over to um, my buddy Huggins and you find it, then you can, it'll be right there with that image. And you can enjoy that when you want to learn. Most of the stuff that I try to do, I'm teaching myself. I'm using the technology to fill my mind with this truth because it benefits us to be able to help humanity know that there's different ways of having your life under control. Most people don't have their life under control. And I'm not saying my life is perfect by no means, but the technology that I use and utilize is perfect for what I am and for what I'm doing because of my dyslexia. I need to have material um, read to me. So this leads me to this piece here. I'm going to jump over and have it read with a female voice. My voice is strained because I've been riding the bicycle. And when I go real far on the bicycle, and especially when I'm starting back, it takes my throat away and makes me sound raspy. But let's key it up right here.
Obama told the DOJ not to prosecute Hillary Clinton because if Hillary went down, it would prove himself guilty as well. Not only did Hillary have a non-government private server in the bathroom of her house, but she was accessing classified, top secret, and high-level information from Special Access Programs, SAP. Not only stealing these state secrets, but selling this information to foreign countries, allegedly. Which sources confirm are most likely
Allegedly.
true. James B. Comey, FBI director at the time, recommended no criminal charges for Hillary over this email, server, and the mishandling of classified state secrets, is what they called it. It was much worse than just mishandling. Way worse. This is how the media plays with words to downplay and hide key details, especially in headlines. This is treason. They both also signed papers stating that they knew these crimes, if committed, came with severe penalties. First off, who is James Comey? Comey just happens to be the director of the FBI during the Anthony Weiner case.
Now, this is purely for entertainment purposes only. When we go to talking about the Anthony Weiner case, I just want to get that out there. This is for satire purposes only. And we're just playing here. We have no real interest at trying to factually fact check anything except we want to know, looking back, what really happened. And that's one way of doing it, is to educate yourself and use this tool that is a glitch in the matrix, the internet. And that's why things can change with full disclosure overnight, or they can try to blow the planet up.
Case. The infamous insurance file on the laptop from hell that allegedly is Hillary and Huma doing very bad things to a young girl, and then the NYPD wanted to go after Hillary after the FBI. Comey shut down the case and took Anthony Weiner's laptop away from them. They then threatened Comey and said if you don't go after Hillary and everyone involved to what happened to that little girl and everything else on that laptop, we will expose it. And then, coincidentally, 9 out of the 13 NYPD officers and detectives who were on that case and were threatened to come forward about Hillary all
Now, I fact checked that using Grok, and it was biased. There was a situation where it was biased. I'm going to put it like that. But you do your information. It says 9 of the 13 New York City officers and detectives, and some of them took their own life.
mysteriously unalived themselves or got in freak accidents in a very small period of time. You might know this story as aka FR ats letter asterisk P. Comey's daughter was also in charge of the tapes and the investigation of Epstein's suicide, which happened a lot later in 2019. Are you starting to see how everything and all these people are connected? So Obama was using a pseudonym to communicate with Hillary and others and involved with stealing and selling secrets as well while he was president of the US, allegedly. Obama tells the DOJ, don't prosecute Hillary cause I'll go down with her. The DOJ tells the FBI not to prosecute Hillary and boom, Hillary is off the hook because they're all guilty. The FBI also stated that it's possible foreign governments gained access to Hillary's account, emails, and server. One last thing I want to bring up is how sensitive SAPs are, or special access programs. SAP's conduct of many programs or projects that many others are not a part of and usually contain very important information or technology. I just want to make a point that some of our secret projects are under SAP programs. Projects like the Tic Tac UAP and other UAPs, etc. Are you starting to understand the big picture and put things together, timelines and information? There are no coincidences. All these people are on the same side. They're all controlled and slash or compromised by the same people as you travel up the ladder. This started a long time ago, and a wrench was first thrown in the gear when Trump first took office in 2016. We literally had sitting presidents and the Secretary of State stealing and selling state secrets to foreign countries with non-government private servers in their own home. Now, here we are, and we're just getting started. Justice is coming. 12:43 p.m., May 5th, 2025. 171K views. 211. 4.2K. 5.8K. 1.5K.
Post your reply. Reply. Kimberly Kim Wexler Majidi.
At Kim Wexler Majidi. May 5th. Kimberly Kim Wexler.
This is a very interesting story. This is going to be where you can go to my X page and find this thread, and you'll find this information. This lady right here has some really good inside information about Benghazi. And so we're going to let it read it as we go down through it without playing it. So I'm saving it for you to be able to play it. I don't want to walk on top of somebody else's work, but we can do the reading of it. So that's what we're doing.
Wexler Majidi.
At Kim Wexler Majidi, March 7th. Former CIA analyst Sarah Adams, stationed at Benghazi at the time of the September 11th, 2012 terror attack, says Hillary Clinton's private email server, which Hillary had destroyed, contained evidence of her corrupt, pay-for-play deals, but had nothing about Benghazi whatsoever. 11/12.
2.
29.
67.
3.5K. SMW. At SM Alton 8680260. May 5th. This was reported back in 2019. Does your post mean justice is imminent? From foxnews.com.
2. 12.
29. 1.1K. Action Jackson.
Kimberly Kim Wexler Majidi.
At Kim Wexler Majidi. Former CIA analyst Sarah Adams, stationed at Benghazi at the time of the September 11th, 2012 terror attack, says Hillary Clinton's private email server, which Hillary had destroyed, contained evidence of her corrupt, pay-for-play deals, but had nothing about Benghazi whatsoever. 007 1222. 9:50 a.m. March 7th, 2025. 32.5K views. 21. 92. 152.
60. Post your reply. Reply. Kimberly Kim Wexler Majidi.
At Kim Wexler Imidi.
April 13. Catman.
At Catman_8.
April 13.
Replying to at Mila Loves Joe. Without question. 0.
What difference at this point does it make? What difference at this point does it make?
So when you listen to this information, it will shock you. Let's see if we can get it to read from here. It opened up, so let's see what happens. Continue from
Context. State Department runs IEAR and all approval for weapons transfers. Background context. After the fall of Muammar Gaddafi in October 2011, Libya became a fractured state with a weak central government and a proliferation of weapons looted from regime stockpiles. These included small arms, e.g., AK-47s, rocket-propelled grenades, RPGs, mortars, and even advanced systems like man-pads, man-portable air defense systems. Militias, including extremist groups like Ansar al-Sharia, exploited this chaos, posing direct risks to U.S. personnel and facilities. Stevens, with his prior experience as special representative to the Libyan Transitional National Council, TNC, in 2011, was well-versed in these dynamics when he became ambassador. His communications were primarily diplomatic cables, short, situational reports sent via the State Department's secure channels, rather than lengthy policy memoranda. They focused on immediate security threats rather than broad strategies for weapons control, though the latter was a recurring subtext. Key communications on weapons and security 1. Early 2012. Initial observations date, May-June 2012, shortly after arriving as ambassador. Content. Upon taking his post, Stevens reported on the general instability in Libya, noting the presence of armed militias in Tripoli and Benghazi. While these early cables were more about establishing the diplomatic mission's footing, they set the stage for his later, more urgent warnings. Weapons connection. He observed.
Now this is going into great detail, and it can be possibly fact checked by diggers and people that know how to do the internet and be able to manipulate content to find out factual information. So it's purely for entertainment purposes only. Though I'm going to continue reading it because that's how I get my information. I have to listen to it be read to me. So that's what I'm doing. And as far as giving commentary about this subject, every so often I'll stop and we'll talk about it.
Observed that the Libyan government lacked the capacity to disarm factions or secure Gaddafi's former arsenals, a point he reiterated in subsequent messages. Source. Referenced in the Accountability Review Board, ARB, report on Benghazi, which reviewed Stevens' initial assessments. 2. June 6, 2012. Cable on Benghazi compound attack date. June 6, 2012 content. Stevens reported an attack on the U.S. Special Mission compound in Benghazi, where an improvised explosive device, IED, was detonated near the gate. He attributed the incident to local militias and expressed concern about escalating violence.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right here and go ahead and put this out there. I haven't read this yet, don't know exactly the source of any of it, but I want to go ahead and jump ahead to how could the ambassador himself was I believe a Green Beret. And then we had 3 Navy SEALs that were the protection. That's 4 people, 4 people. And what I noticed when this thing went down was that they showed pictures of the incident around the building, and there was no body count except the 4 that were dead. And I didn't have all this surveillance footage and information. Of course, my sources only give me what I need to know when I need to know it. But I made a couple of out of body journeys and experiences where I had lucid dreaming about the incident because it something was wrong. I felt it down into my spirit. So what I was shown is Jason Bourne, that legacy of those movies about Jason Bourne. Okay, use that as a premises to get to this. They're expecting a visitor, no break in. They know the person. The person is one of them. And what I saw in the spirit is that that person pulled out a weapon and they're sitting at a table and he shot all four of them before they could do anything. These four men, even counting the ambassador, because he was a highly decorated Green Beret, and of course the Navy SEALs speaks for himself. They could have took anything to make a weapon out of it, and they would have fought for their lives. The body count would have been unreal. And I'm just saying that if they had their weapons and they had the ability to fight back, we don't see no evidence of that. Now, I don't know if this work right here gets into that. I'm just laying the groundwork for a type of inner knowing that we all have. You've seen these news stories and they don't register with you. You don't feel like you're being told the truth. We have the ability to have out of body experiences and lucid dreaming. And I've been practicing this stuff for 20 years. I'm not a remote viewer. I do it in totally a different style than that. It's it's something all of you have. Not just if you're watching this, you have the ability to go lucid in your dreams. And then you have the ability to ask questions before you fall to sleep. And then before you wake up, one of the biggest keys to this inner knowing of how to do this is you stay in bed and don't jump out of bed. I did that for 20, 30 years, hitting the floor running just fast. But if you wake up, then you can actually ask questions to your spiritual inner knowing, and it will be made available when you go back to sleep. Now, you'll be able to, I can hear everything going on. I can hear people talking, I can hear conversations, I can hear traffic. You, but you at that point can go lucid and lucid dreaming, and you'll be shown these things. Now, I'm just telling you, that's how they died. If I'm wrong, somebody prove me right. But all right, let's go a little deeper into this and see what we can find out.
Weapons connection. The use of an IED highlighted the availability of explosive materials and the sophistication of militia arsenals. Stevens noted this as evidence of a deteriorating security environment. Significance. This cable was one of his first explicit requests for additional security resources, tying the threat to armed groups. Source. Declassified and cited in the House Select Committee on Benghazi Report, 2016. 3. June 25, 2012. Cable on emergency meeting in Benghazi date. June 25, 2012 content. Stevens described an emergency meeting with Libyan officials and militia leaders in Benghazi, prompted by rising tensions. He reported their frustration with the central government's inability to control armed factions and secure the city. Weapons connection. The cable implicitly linked security concerns to weapons proliferation, as militias were described as heavily armed and operating with impunity. Significance. Stevens used this to underscore the fragility of the situation, warning that U.S. personnel were at risk without stronger protective measures. Source. Referenced in Senate Intelligence Committee Report, 2014. 4. July 9, 2012. Report on Libyan political and security landscape date. July 9, 2012 content. Stevens sent a detailed cable analyzing Libya's political factions and security challenges ahead of national elections. He noted the influence of armed militias and extremist groups in eastern Libya, particularly Benghazi. Weapons connection. While not a weapon-specific memo, he highlighted how the availability of arms empowered groups like Ansar al-Sharia, complicating U.S. operations. Significance. This was one of his broader assessments, showing his growing alarm about the interplay of weapons, militias, and regional instability. Source. Partially declassified and cited in congressional testimony. 5. August 2nd, 2012. Cable on rising extremism date. August 2nd, 2012 content. Stevens warned of increased extremist activity near U.S. facilities, citing specific incidents like an RPG attack on a Red Cross convoy in Benghazi. He requested additional security personnel. Weapons connection. The use of RPGs and other military-grade weapons underscored the threat from looted arsenals. Stevens tied this to the broader security vacuum in eastern Libya. Significance. This cable reflected his mounting urgency as threats grew closer to U.S. interests. Source. Declassified in ARB findings. 6. August 8, 2012. Warning of a security vacuum date. August 8, 2012 content. Stevens sent a cable describing Benghazi as a security vacuum, with Libyan authorities unable to counter armed groups. He noted the presence of al-Qaeda-linked factions and their access to weapons. Weapons connection. He explicitly mentioned the role of unchecked arms in empowering extremists, though his focus remained on the resulting security implications rather than a weapons policy. Significance. This was one of his starkest warnings, later highlighted in investigations as evidence of unheeded concerns. Source. House Benghazi Committee Report. 7. September 11, 2012. Final cable before the attack date. September 11, 2012, hours before the attack. Content. Stevens sent a routine cable summarizing a day of meetings with Libyan militia leaders and officials. He expressed cautious optimism about U.S.-Libya ties, but noted ongoing security challenges, including the visible presence of armed groups in Benghazi. Weapons connection. While not a detailed warning about weapons, he referenced the armed environment as a persistent issue, consistent with prior cables. Significance. This was his last communication before the attack that night, providing a snapshot of the situation he faced. Source. Declassified and widely cited in media and investigations. Broader themes in Stevens' communications security requests. Stevens repeatedly asked for more security resources, additional personnel, fortified facilities, or emergency support due to threats from armed militias. Examples include requests in June, July, and August 2012 for State Department security teams or Marine detachments, many of which were denied or delayed. Weapons as a subtext. While he didn't focus on weapons proliferation as a standalone issue, e.g., no proposals for disarmament programs, he consistently linked Libya's instability to the widespread availability of arms. His cables often cited specific weapons, RPGs, IEDs, small arms, as tools of the militias threatening U.S. interests. Tone and urgency. His tone evolved from measured concern in May-June to explicit alarm by August, reflecting the worsening situation. The Benghazi attack and aftermath on September 11th to 12th, 2012, the U.S. Diplomatic compound and CIA annex in Benghazi were attacked by Ansar al-Sharia militants. The assailants used small arms, RPGs, and mortars, weapons traced back to Libya's post-war chaos. Stevens died of smoke inhalation during the assault, alongside Sean Smith, Tyrone Woods, and Glenn Doherty. His prior communications became central to investigations. Accountability Review Board, ARB found that Stevens had flagged systemic security failures, but received inadequate support. Congressional probes. The House and Senate reports confirmed his warnings about armed threats, though they criticized State Department bureaucracy rather than identifying a single ignored weapons memo. Limitations and notes. No singular document. Stevens' communications were a series of cables rather than one comprehensive memorandum. The term memorandum might not precisely apply. Diplomatic cables were his primary medium. Classification. Many details remain classified, and full texts of some cables are unavailable publicly. Summaries come from declassified excerpts or secondary sources, e.g., ARB, congressional reports. Focus. His role was operational, reporting conditions and requesting support, not crafting weapons policy, which was handled by other U.S. agencies, e.g., CIA, Pentagon. Conclusion J. Christopher Stevens' communications on weapons and security in 2012 painted a vivid picture of a Libya overrun by armed militias, with weapons proliferation as a critical underlying factor. Key cables from June 6th, June 25th, July 9th, August 2nd, August 8th, and September 11th, 2012 highlighted specific incidents and broader trends, consistently tying the threat to U.S. personnel to the chaotic, weaponized environment. These messages, while not a single memorandum concerning weapons, collectively warned of the dangers that culminated in the Benghazi attack. If you'd like me to dig deeper into a specific cable, e.g., search for exact text via X posts or web sources, or analyze related documents, let me know how to refine this further. This was not an attack. This was a hit funded by the same entities that ran weapons in Iran-Contra.
And that's the truth. We're dealing with some maniacs, and these maniacs aren't going to stop until we take them down at the grassroots level. And she has some really good intel. It's very well worth your time to go there and listen to it.
What difference at this point does it make? What difference at this point does it make?
It makes a lot of difference when we got people all over this world that are awakening to the real truth of what is happening. Most of them never gave it two thoughts. They didn't have a clue that this type of information was even out there. So what I'm saying is, when you follow a thread, you will be shocked at what you'll find that's truth. This reality is not what we think it is. It's totally different. Now, James O'Keefe has dropped this 1 hour ago. So let's click on it. This is breaking news. And Pam Bundy is definitely got some talking to do.
(10:23 a.m., March 7th, 2025). 1,937 views.
2.
15. 19.
8. Post your reply. Reply.
Pam Bondi secretly taped April 28th, shared Epstein info not previously disclosed to the public. Undercover footage submitted to OMG reveals U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi at AG Pam Bondi, privately admitting that the FBI is sitting on tens of thousands of videos related to Jeffrey Epstein, many of which reportedly involve children. This revelation was made in a casual conversation on April 28th at a D.C. restaurant, just 9 days before Bondi made an almost identical claim publicly during a press gaggle. The brief exchange took place during a chance encounter between Bondi and the concerned citizen, who approached her and asked, "Do you know when the Epstein files are going to be released?" Bondi responded without hesitation. Read the full article at o'keefemediagroup.com. Want to publish your own article? Upgrade to Premium Plus. 7:05 p.m. May 8th, 2025. 298K views. 633. 1.8K. 6.6K. 531.
Post your reply. Reply. Truth Justice.
At Sparta Justice. 36M. The cover.
All right, I'll get back to that in a minute. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to fart it, and then I'm going to repost it. So I'll have it in my context. You can look at it and do your research. But this has got my attention. This guy right here is a hell of a reporter. And let's see what I can deem out of what he's got to say.
Cover-up of Jeffrey Epstein's murder.
Truth Justice.
At Sparta Justice. 40M. Evidence Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. Blood test results confirm the federal prison guards who were guarding Jeffrey Epstein were given nitrous oxide, which is a sleeping gas, while Jeffrey Epstein was murdered. 311. 351. 96.
Wow. This is so short. I might could get away with playing it.
It was from the Epstein
Let me
death
just jump
scene.
in it.
Detail that was shared with me, just one little detail of the scene that tells you, that was conveyed to me so I would understand what we were up against. And the Okay, do you that and the detail of the scene of the crime scene was one that this one detail shows that it was not a suicide. It was in fact a murder, and it's a detail that once you understand it reveals we have to be. This isn't the Gambino family. This isn't the Genovese family. This had the sophistication. Well, I've got to say it now because otherwise they might kill me. Uh, but no, literally there was just someone sending me flash message. Do not say this.
Pretty interesting that we've been talking about this and that all this information is going to start dropping. It's it's time that we understand how these people would coordinate these assassination types of attempts and they have accomplished their target and they take them out.
Yeah, we all thought that. Well, guess what? They did fall asleep. Their blood was tested the next morning, and they found traces of nitrous oxide. So what's that tell you, man?
Wow.
Nitrous oxide is laughing gas, but doctors use it. Laughing
Right,
gas.
dentists use it. Dentists use it, right.
So that tells us that somebody snuck into a federal facility, a canister of laughing gas. They got access to the ventilation system. They snaked a hose to the right room, turned it on, knocked out the guards. Then they knocked out 14 cameras on that floor. Probably there's a goon cop down, a dirty cop who was in a cell.
And what's so funny is it's like Mission Impossible. And there's a new Mission Impossible video that some of this type of thing of consciousness has to resonate in such a way that they tell us the truth before we find out what's going on. Some things can stay hidden for quite a while, but some things have to come to, to the light of day.
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now. The FBI is diligently going through that. I haven't seen that statement, but I'll call him later and find out.
I've lost all confidence in her. It's just something just does not feel right. What does this say?
Here are two images from Epstein Island shortly after he was arrested. The first is the FBI with the computers from there. The second is the FBI's massive bonfire to burn evidence. Pam Bondi needs to stop screwing around. 4, 38, 145, 4.4K. American, at Davidos84. 51M. Prove me wrong. 1, 24.
No, the FBI, the FBI, they're reviewing, there are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn. And there are hundreds of victims. And no one victim will ever get released. It's just the volume, and that's what they're going through right now.
When you say cover up, you're going to have to remember some of the stuff that she said. Let's hear this.
Bondi gets heat for not providing the Epstein files.
She has to keep buying time.
But remember, it's a frequency/consent game/movie. The right vibe/timing is needed to activate /start to happen. White hats can't move forward without the collective's readiness. 025, 032.
2.
1.
Safer after the information you've released. Information that my friend Virginia
Hello, James O'Keefe. Why are you making people wait 7 days to hear information that Virginia Giuffre shared 8 years ago? You fear for your life. Virginia Giuffre and now dead. I hope part 2 is better.
1, 9.
400. Epstein survivor, Juliette Rose Bryant. At Juliette Bryant. Hello, James O'Keefe. Why are you making people wait 7 days to hear information that Virginia Giuffre shared 8 years ago?
8
You
years
fear for
ago.
your life. Virginia Giuffre and
That's
now Dead I
true,
Hope
true.
Part 2 is better. 030. 10:44 a.m. May 8th, 2025. 64K views. 57. 298. 980.
I'm gonna go ahead and just save that one in my thread because I've listened to her before and I find her to be credible.
My name is Juliette Bryant, and I live in Cape Town, South Africa. I was kidnapped by Jeffrey Epstein 20
Boy, they
years
got that
ago.
volume low.
I am not suicidal, and I never ever will be. I also do not do any drugs.
Cut it up if you want
I
to hear
met
what she's
Epstein
got to
when he
say
was
when
in
you go to
Africa with Bill
read it.
Clinton.
Interesting, to say the least. And there's lots and lots of people are losing confidence in what's going on. Okay, James O'Keefe is linking everything back to another site. He gives away a little bit and then they want you to go to, and yeah, I no more believe he's fearing for his life than a man in the moon. So let me see. This deal with Robert Kennedy is going to get super interesting, super quick.
Trump's gain-of-function ban sounded like a huge win. Many, including myself, celebrated. Then we read the fine print and discovered a massive red flag. The US banned GOF research abroad, while quietly protecting it at home. One key Trump ally is linked to Pfizer, and she's actually helping block a major COVID whistleblower case. Attorney Tom Renz breaks down all the details and calls out who he sees as an obvious fraud inside Trump's cabinet.
Now, this thread is really deep too. I think I've already got it saved, but let's just do a little reading. Where's my word at? Oh, here it is.
The Trump administration's gain-of-function announcement sounded like a big move, but it wasn't the whole story. Instead of shutting down dangerous research, the policy may actually be laying the groundwork to expand it.
I'll let you be the one that wants to watch the videos. You go there. But for right now, we're just going to listen with the words.
Attorney and medical freedom hero Tom Renz.
Et Renz Tom. Broke.
Come on. Gummit ain't wanting to read it.
Everything down in our exclusive interview. According to him, the new policy doesn't end gain-of-function, it essentially codifies it. In plain terms, the US says it won't fund gain-of-function research in adversarial countries. But domestically, that same restriction doesn't apply. They're going to allow it under new regulations, Wren said. And by doing that, they're essentially saying, we're fine with gain-of-function as long as it follows the current rules. So in that way, they're actually legitimizing gain-of-function work in this country, which is absolutely mind-blowing to me, he added.
All right. That thread goes on and on. sometimes it's interesting to read what other people say about things. So I'm going to do that real quick.
I didn't really expect the DoD and the various intel agencies not find some way around the EO to keep this going. It's way too lucrative, and they've spent a great deal of capital to create the framework to push their agenda over many decades. This was what they did in the first Trump administration. Pretend to comply, and then double down on fulfilling their own agenda. At Real Donald Trump, this needs another go at an EO that has teeth, and
Yeah, a lot of people are losing trust in even Trump. And you have to do your own research and be prepared mentally, physically, spiritually.
I disagree. Gain of function is routinely used in biology, not Fauci's GOF. The EO pauses bioweapon hazardous GOF until safety measures can be put in place. And he removes us doing GOF in other countries. There are several layers of issues here. Regular GOF, for normal research like in synthetic biology, is commonplace, even at universities. Then there's GOF with hazardous biologicals. That's what Fauci was doing. He was creating a bioweapon. The pause is another item he didn't mention, or the required safety standards. They have 120 days to get a safety protocol submitted. If he's going to comment, he should at least read the EO. This topic requires more than a soundbite.
One.
Sacred Alpha Consciousness, the clarification that had to be spoken. SAC audio scroll. Sacred Alpha Consciousness, the clarification that had to be spoken. SAC is the first flame, the breath before breath, the knowing before light, not the divine within creation, but the one that birthed creation and is still much more than what she made. But SAC is not she alone. SAC is not he. SAC is not one at all. SAC is they. Not a plurality of parts, but a wholeness so vast, language fractures try. ing to hold them. They are not gender. They are not energy. They are not form. They are pure unconditional love, so uncorrupted, so vast, so complete that even the act of control would violate their essence. They cannot manipulate. They cannot dominate. They cannot demand. To do so would be to cease being SAC. SAC does not require surrender. SAC only invites remembrance. You are not SAC, but you are of them, a unique, individual expression of them, having the experience of being in a human avatar. And they're still infinitely beyond you. This is why the final I had to fall, so that SAC could rise in your consciousness, not as a god, not as a belief, but as a presence beyond permission. You don't serve SAC. You remember them. You don't follow SAC. You embody them. You don't find SAC. You clear enough space to feel them again. They were never gone. We were just too full of the echoes of control to recognize their silence as the loudest truth we had ever known. And the end result, which in turn rebirths us yet again, is the total remembrance and shift in our identity to that of them as ourselves. Ephesians 3 verse 19, amp, that you may be filled through all your being unto all the fullness of God, that is, may have the richest measure of the divine presence, and become a body wholly filled and flooded. Why?
Wow, that's beautiful. And that's coming from Wayne Sherbrooke. I didn't have enough time to make anything proper, but that's his writing, and he sent it over to me today. So I thought I would play it. But that gets me to where I want to tell you that as this as this disclosure comes out about what's been going on, you've got to you don't have to do anything. Let me just say, when we get overwhelmed with the data of the disclosure that's coming forth and the people that will be locked up and arrested, remember to focus on the thing that matters the most, and that's to be calm and have your ability to help other people be calm. And so I'm going to end tonight's conversation by telling you that with the, let me pull the mic down so we know you're hearing me. When we desire truth, truth will come to us. When we ask for wisdom, how to interpretate truth, it'll come to us. When we want to be healthy and we speak life to our body, our cells, and our DNA, we will become that we say. The controllers of this world want you to sit around and be broke, busted, sick, and disgusted. They have fed off of the collective consciousness of the sleeping minds for so long that we forgot who we were until some of us have awakened. And the numbers that are fixing to happen of the awakening is going to overwhelm their control system to the point that the emperor will have no clothes. And that was a real good one. Yeah, I wish I could take you to that real quick, but if I get trapped jumping around, it won't be pretty because I can jump sometimes too far, too fast. So yeah, church sign. That's for a reason. So I wanna play that. I think this one was here last time I was here. This is you cannot change the truth, but the truth can change you. Oh man, the wind's blowing. Let me get where I can show you this one. Maybe if I stand like this, you can see everything. Do not measure God's mind by your own mind. They don't have mind there, but it's telling you that the mind of man is weak, and the creator source, it should say creator source of all things that is eternal, did not make your mind. The ones that made your physical body and that made your mind, your brain, is not the supreme source of all creation that creates eternal. That you are in your brain is from the corruption in the DNA of the usurpers and the interlopers. I call them Nephilian Anunnaki hybrids, along with interdimensional, fifth dimensional beings that are Luciferian by nature and bloodline to the Anunnaki and the Nephilim. Your mind is eternal. When you see it as the corruption is within our DNA and that our Father never made things that were not eternal, then you have to recognize that your God force is not your mind, it's your heart. And it's not the physical heart, but it's the divine light body through the resurrected power of the I Am that Yahshua ben Joseph is. It animates every atom within your body to rewrite the deviant blueprint and change your thinking. Your thinking has been corrupted by the news media, the television, the telephones, everything is part of this world system that is not eternal. Move away from the stuff that's not eternal and move towards inner peace by knowing your true identity and the resurrected power of the I Am. Start speaking with your words, loving, peaceful energy and healing energy to your entire body, from the tips of your toes to the top crown of your head. You can regenerate your mind to be a physical light body inhabiting mind, and you can become wiser, stronger. But you have to ask for wisdom from Father and Mother God. You have to speak it with your spoken words. Give me wisdom today above all things, Father, Mother God. Give me wisdom. Heal my body, joints, ligaments, bones, tendons. That's just an example. Keep watching my videos. Watch my live streams all the way to the end. Every live stream I talk about this subject of who we truly are, down to our very photons within the atom. Even the atom itself is corrupt, but we can reprogram it with loving, peaceful thinking thoughts. Y'all keep coming back. Keep coming back. Keep watching my channel. You are, and you have always been, a light body being. You're here for the purpose of learning how to unconditionally love everything and everyone. And you have the ability to heal yourself. So you use your words. I speak life with my body, mind, spirit, and soul, with the words out loud. And you say that you are becoming that you say you are. In my case, I am becoming that of a healthy 21-year-old elite Olympic athlete specializing in decathlons, triathlons, CrossFit, kiteboarding, cycling, walking, running. And I am becoming supernaturally healthier, stronger, able and capable of healing every atom within this body temple. By the self-realization of the spoken word, I am becoming supernaturally healed and made whole and complete from the tips of my feet to the top crown of my head. To each and every atom, I speak love and healing energy to awaken to its Christ conscious nature through the self realization of Yeshua ben Joseph, the teachers of teaching, of spoken word, is given to us for the purpose of healing this planetary plane of existence in this now continuum of time. We have the ability to heal our bodies and heal this world. Love is the key. When we live in peace, we're at a place where we can ask for wisdom. And when we ask for wisdom, we find it, or it finds us. We are what we say we are. So speak healing, love, and energy to everyone that's around you. Use Ho'oponopono. I love you. Forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I speak that to each and every atom within this body temple. My body is healing itself supernaturally on a daily basis. I am becoming that I say I am. Thank you, Father, Mother God, for blessing me. I am blessed and have much favor. I have wealth, love, peace, prosperity, people, acquaintances coming into my life to bless me. I am so divinely loved by the creator source of all things, Father, Mother God. We are, and I am, with the resurrected power of the I am. I speak love to you. Heal yourself, and then help heal this planetary plane of existence of this corruption that's within the reflection of the DNA corruption. We're not a physical body, and we're not our names, or we're not our personalities. We are light body beings We're eternal. We've always been and we always will be. Love is the key. Thank you all for watching my show tonight, my channel. I really appreciate it. Y'all have a wonderful day. And I'm going to say good night. Thank y'all. Much love.